Hey everybody, welcome to Reality Room Podcast with Chris. Today we're going to be talking about Netflix's new show, The Ultimatum. We're going to be covering episodes 1, 2, 3. This is going to be a really good and interesting show for you guys. We're going to talk about this cast, we're going to talk about the concept of the show, and we're going to be talking about this idea of having an ultimatum for your partner or they're just going to leave. Yes. So before we get into the episode recap, I want to go over briefly on where The Ultimatum was actually filmed. So Netflix's new dating show, The Ultimatum, has one of the most chaotic ways to save a relationship as its premise. From the creators of Love is Blind, the show asks the question, what if couples could play mind games with each other on an international streaming service? It's a sort of bonkers idea that makes for great television, but also makes you desperate to hear a relationship counselor weigh in on these strange tactics to get married. In each of the six couples, one partner has issued the Taylor ultimatum to finally get married or break up forever. The couples have 8 weeks to decide. In the meantime, they can date any of the other people and live together like a real married couple. If they want, they can only end things with their current partner, but leave in a relationship with someone else on the show. So we're going to get into that when we talk about the episode recaps, but let's kind of go over, this cast because this is a very interesting cast this season. So let's go over our first. Because Alexis is 25 years old and Hunter is 28. So they're already young and they've been dating for, I believe, a year and a half or 2 years. I had to have to double. Yeah, they've been together for 2 years. So it's interesting that Alexis is the one that's giving the ultimatum. I guess for the most part, the girls in this season are the ones that are giving the ultimatum. So, yeah, it's definitely interesting for sure. They seem cute. If you look into, they. I definitely have my opinions on them when we talk about the episodes. So let's get into our next. Oh, I forgot to actually add. Um, Hold on one second, guys. I messed up. I messed up. Give me 1 second to go. Hold on. How do I do this? Some technical difficulties, guys. Some technical difficulties. There we go. Much better. Okay. Sorry for the technical difficulties, guys. So, yeah. So when I was talking about, we have Shanique and Randall here. And I was talking about how Randall does not want to start marriage until he gets out of debt. And Shanique, they've been married. They've been together for a year and a half, and she's ready. She's ready to put the ring on it. So now we have these two. These two are an interesting bunch for sure. So right here, we got April and Jake. April is 23 and Jake is 26. We have another woman wanting to initiate the ultimatum. So just 1 year after leaving the military, Jake wants to travel and become financially stable. Sounds like someone on reality podcast who says this all the time. Before he proposes to girlfriend April, but April who wants a family as soon as possible, says she'll be done with the relationship if this experience doesn't push him towards engagement. So again, we have another couple that are in their 20s. I don't know why they're like why are these people in their 20s? It just seems so early to get married. I don't know why. This is crazy. But yeah, it's just interesting. It's interesting for sure that, this is happening. Yeah, so we have these two. We got the cowgirl, the cowboy. Let's get into them. So this is Madeline and Colby, 25 and 24. So after meeting at a bar in college, Colby immediately knew Madeline was the one. And after a year and a half of dating, Colby needs her to realize that too. Otherwise, he says he'll walk away. So this is our first couple that we have where the man is giving the ultimatum and the woman is not. So, that is definitely interesting for sure. Don't know how I feel about that, at all. So yeah, that's definitely interesting for sure. She seems fun. She seems fun for sure. All right. In a relationship and they want to have kids, especially when the woman in the relationship doesn't. So it's just a very interesting dynamic when it comes to having an ultimatum, when it comes to having kids for sure. So yeah, I think she wants to marry him. So it's interesting for sure. And we have one last couple. There isn't much to say about these two. But like I said, Ray has everything mapped out in her life now that she's graduated from college. So the next steps are a proposal from her boyfriend of 2.5 years, a honeymoon in Cancun, and eventually a family. Only problem, Zay isn't ready to fit into that plan just yet. So yeah, that's what I'd have to say. Again, other people that are in their 20s, definitely a different, interesting perspective on it. But that is the cast. That we only have one couple that are in their 30s, which is very interesting to me. So that's all I have to say about that. So let's go into our episode recap. Okay, so we are going to be covering episodes 1 to 3 of The Ultimatum. So we have The Split, we have The Choice, and we have my favorite episode, episode 3, New Bed, New Partner. So let's just dive right into this episode. So it starts off with Hunter and Alexis. They've been together for 2 years. Alexis giving the ultimatum. And like I said before, they were talking about kids. Hunter... Oh, no, this is not the one that was talking about kids. They're just talking about wanting to get married. because they've been together for so long. They go into the lobbyist, which is like this crazy ass hotel that they're going to be staying in for a week. And it was kind of weird that there were people there already. It looked like it was at some sort of penthouse place, which is, interesting. As well as the host. It was just weird that the hosts were just already there, and there was also just people sitting there. Fun fact, The Ultimatum was filmed at the Austin Marriott downtown in Austin, Texas. So Love is Blind was filmed in Chicago, and it's just interesting that, they got people in Texas instead. This Marriott has rooms, a pool, and a bar. And there wasn't much need to film outside of the hotel, although the Symbolic says some local restaurants may also serve as production spots. Interesting. So the way that this is formatted, this show, with Nick and Vanessa Lachey, I actually was not a big fan of Nick and Vanessa Lachey at the Love is Blind season 2 finale. I thought that they were extremely implicitly biased towards certain groups. That's just my opinion on it. That's just what I believe. But I actually think that this is probably the show that if they were they did a pretty good job hosting the show. They were a lot more involved than Love is Blind, to be honest. So Nick and Vanessa, they talk about how psychologists agreed that ultimatums are bad, but then they just made some sort of excuse that, sometimes it's good. Whatever. An ultimatum is crazy to begin with, in my opinion. And Vanessa says that she took a break from Nick, and I don't blame her. And I also don't blame Nick for taking a break from Vanessa. And I have it on my notes here that Nick, if you really watch The Ultimatum, Nick always gives these like really weird faces, like all the time. Like he does not want to be there, like at all. It's really, 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 really funny. All right. So how it works, this show, we're going to talk about how this works. So how it works is that they are in this hotel for a week, and each of them have to choose a partner to be with. They have to decide who they want to spend 3 weeks with at, I guess, each other's places and stuff like that. So yeah, so that's crazy. So they're basically going to be broken up. The couples are going to be broken up, and they're going to be going on dates with each other for a week, and then they're going to decide who they want to spend 3 weeks with and move in together. And then they're going to be going to have the same experience with the person they came with. So they're going to be spending 1 week at this hotel. Then they're going to be deciding who they want to spend the 3 weeks with. And then after that, they're going to be spending 3 weeks with the person that they came with. Now, mind you, if they don't find someone, then the ultimatum will probably take place at the end of the week where they are all staying at this hotel. It's crazy. So let's talk about the dates. So Madeline has an attraction for Randall. Every time I think about Randall, I think about like Monsters Inc. or Recess. Madeline's attracted to Randall. They spend a final night together. Blah blah blah. April starts crying, and then it cuts to April talking about Jake buying her, an SUV, and she's basically saying like, "Why would you buy me an SUV if you weren't going to marry me?" Like I said before, Jake got out of the military for 1.5 years, and Jake talks about possibly wanting to date around to see if it's good for him. When it comes to the Lauren and Nate situation, Nate wants to have kids, and that was the big thing. That's why he's given Lauren the ultimatum. And like I said before, Ray and Zay, they've been together for 2.5 years. Ray has everything figured out, and she makes it very clear, guys, that she knows how to fuck. She made sure to make that very clear in her confessionals. So just you gotta give the plug. Gotta give the plug in there. Zay makes a good point about Ray not opening up. Production shows a director asking her a question about why she wants to marry him. And I thought it was interesting that Netflix is going this different direction with showing more of the side of production. I don't know why they're doing it this way, but I do like the fact that production does get a little involved with the cuts. So it's definitely interesting that, that makes the cut. So they start dating around or whatever. April and Zay, they're going on date. Hunter and April talk. April talks about how the guys are not financially stable. And each person has to date 5 other people because there's only 6 couples. Okay. Zay wants to... Zay made it very clear he wants to fuck at least 2 to 3 times a week. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about Randall and Madeline, because Madeline was the one who is attracted to Randall. Madeline talks about how annoyed she is as well as Randall. And then there's Colby and Alexis. Alexis talks about the financial situation. Alexis is the one that keeps bringing up the, financial decisions on stuff. Colby and April, April makes a really good point. Her line is that you have to finish the same page or you'll never be able to finish the book. And I thought that was a really, really interesting line. Then Colby and Lauren are together. Lauren is not open to having kids, and Laura finds Colby attractive, which is interesting. And Jake actually likes Ray a lot. So they're basically just kind of like bullshitting with each other and stuff. So then they talk about sex position, and some of them are a little jealous. And then Ray asks a question at a bar, which was an icebreaker. Alexis gets rejected by Colby, which was really fucking awkward as hell. April is jealous, and April, sits down. So there's a lot of jealousy when it comes to, some of these couples. And it's just kind of weird to, like, be dating for a year and a half or 2 years just to find out that, you're going to be dating around again. It's just awkward as fuck. I don't know. I thought it was pretty awkward. Yeah, I thought it was really, 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 really awkward. So, yeah. So let's get into episode 2, guys. The choice. Okay. So Colby and Alexis talk again. Alexis says Colby's girlfriend is very similar to her. Alexa calls Colby an asshole. So Alexis is not happy with Colby because Colby does not find Alexis attractive. Now, here is the thing, and this is why I don't go on Twitter or any of that stuff, so I don't know how anyone is portrayed in the show whatsoever. But I will say that I have a feeling Colby is portrayed as the asshole, which is of the season, which is kind of weird because I wouldn't think so. But when you're in this situation where you're trying to find someone to marry or date around, you have to be authentic and honest and transparent. So I just don't understand, why that's not like. I'm sorry, he sounds like an asshole, but it's just the truth. Then Madeline and Alexa talk. Hunter and Madeline talk. Hunter likes Alexis. That I don't know what these notes are. And then Colby starts crying in the bathroom. I believe Colby was crying because, this is came off as an asshole. Okay, so then Nate and Shanique talk, and they're kind of holding hands. So they're probably going to be dating. Those two are probably going to be the ones that are dating in the 3 weeks. Then Nate and April. Nate talks about kids and knows what he wants. Yeah, so they're just basically fucking around for this 1 week. The group jokes around. We have Randall and Madeline, joking around. Ray and Jay joking around, and then Hunter and Alexis talk. And April and Jake start crying. Shanique brought Randall to prove she wants him. Interesting. Okay. So this is where things get very interesting because now they're like, because I was also kind of wondering how this was going to be formatted. So what happens is the host comes in, Vanessa and Nick, they come in, and they're sitting at like this like table, like the last fucking supper table. And there's the 6 couple, there's 12 of them. And what happens is they ask each person to get up and decide who they want to be paired with. So Shanique wants to be paired with Zay. Zay wants to be with Shanique for the 3 weeks. So that's paired out. Ray wants to be with Jake, and Jake wants to be with Ray. Madeline wants to be with Randall, and Randall wants to be with Madeline. So we have 3 new couples. We have the Shake and Zay couple. We have the Ray and Jake couple. And then we have the Madeline and Randall one, which I'm not surprised with. So we have these 3 couples already. We have 3 couples left to make pairings, which is why I was worried because Alexis, was not going to be, would either have to be paired up with someone who she really doesn't want to be paired up with, or just fucking leave and, that's it. So Alexa opens up to everyone, and I actually thought this was a very authentic and transparent speech that she kind of gave, where she's like, I didn't find anyone here that I really wanted to spend 3 weeks with, and if I leave, that's it. And then it ends with Hunter getting up and saying that he wants to marry Alexis. And honestly, this shit was kind of crazy because before this, April got up and said she wants to choose Hunter. And I guess Alexis, because she wasn't going to find someone to spend the 3 weeks with, was basically telling production, fuck this shit. If I don't find anyone, I'm just going to get up and leave. So I just thought it was interesting that Hunter just was like, well, I could spend 3 weeks with April, but, I want to marry, Alexis. I spent a week here, and I just want to marry Alexis. Which brings us to episode 3, new bed and new partner. Okay, so this episode is probably the craziest fucking episode in reality TV ever. Alexis and Hunter, they get married, and then things get weird because April has to sit back down because she's not going to be spending the 3 weeks with Hunter. So then Colby gets up and chooses Lauren because Colby and Lauren have been talking about having wanting to spend the 3 weeks together. And then what happens is Nate gets up and proposes to Lauren. Now, mind you, Nate is the one who initiated the ultimatum. So the fact that he's going up and proposing to Lauren, Lauren's obviously going to say yes because he's the one that gave her the ultimatum in the first place. But it was weird because Nate kind of whispered to Madeline about possibly choosing her, and it was kind of weird that April called out Nate for calling it a bullshit engagement. And things get really heated and stuff like that, and Lauren just you don't know. Lauren's basically you don't know me. You just met me for a week. You just met Nate for a week, and we've been married. I'm sorry, in a relationship for 2 years. And April kind of feels fucked. April feels like she got fucked over because her first choice was Hunter, and then Hunter got married, and then her second choice was Nate, and then he got married. So by proxy, now Colby and April are basically forced to be together because Madeline and Jake are with someone else. So it's kind of a weird love square in a way. I don't even know. I'd have to get a chart for that. So yeah, this was pretty crazy, guys. I don't even know what to say about these couples. So let's get into it. So the trial marriage finally starts, and they have to move in together for 3 weeks. Now, 3 weeks, guys, is not a long time, at all. I just thought it was weird that these couples were together for 1.5 to 2 years, but they just met this one person for a week, and they have to spend 3 weeks in basically their apartment or whatever. And I thought it was gonna last a lot longer, but for some reason production probably thought 3 weeks was enough. Shanique talks about how she, likes to be naked. Zay ended up having to sleep on the couch. Jake made it very clear that he would want to have sex with Ray. And I thought that Jake took this probably the best way because April's the one that initiated the ultimatum in the first place. So I thought Jake took this experience like really well, and I think April was like was totally fine with it. So yeah, that's the 3 episodes. This was actually kind of crazy. Yeah, the fact that April and Kobe, they were also like talking shit. They're like, I totally got fucked over because April had 2 choices with Hunter and Nate, and Kobe had a choice with Lauren, and they all just got engaged. So it's really, 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 really sloppy. So yeah, it's just, the show is pretty fucking insane, guys. So yeah, please like, comment, and subscribe down below. I am going to be doing a new episode recap. I'm probably going to do it tomorrow, episodes 4 through 6. I'm going to be going over Girls and Guys Night Out, episode 4, Pushing Boundaries, episode 5, and The Changeover, episode 6. So, yeah. We're going to be going over that tomorrow. I believe I might be either recording this or going live. I'm not entirely sure. But thank you guys so much for coming onto the podcast and listening. Take care, guys.